Hey, my people, I'm here live. I am so excited. Just very soon, I'm going to be with Miad from the Rampage here at Brooklyn College, the radio station. It is happening. I am so thrilled and so excited. There she is. There's my girly girl. We're live here at Smilie Empowerment. We're so happy. I can't see from far, but saying hello to everybody that's joining in live. And we are excited. We're going to be talking today about, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking self-worth.
And settling and self-worth with Smilie.
Settling and self-worth with Smilie, with Coach Smilie. I am super excited. Yes. So those that are joining us live in my Instagram, thank you, family, for joining. And I'm going to be a little quiet here so Miad could do her thing. But I just wanted to say hello. We're going to be together. Hello. I hope that you guys can hear me in the live because I'm at an arm's distance and I can't really look at the comments and things like that. But I will be looking at it later, and I will be putting this on replay. So it's super excited.
Oh my God, this is the first time a guest has ever introed themselves, which is kind of amazing, you know? We love new stuff on the Rampage. All right, cool. Hello. If you're listening, this is the Rampage. My name is Miad. Today with us in the studio, we have obviously a guest, Smilie. Woo!
Thank you.
And we have Andy on the soundboard. We have Stacy on the camera.
Sir.
Hey.
And EJ will be coming in very shortly. So it's okay. He'll be here. Let me just do my little intro and then we can really get into it.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for starting late. I'm so sorry for starting late, guys. That was on me. But, it happens sometimes. But the show must go on.
The show must go on. That's right.
So, we're going to get started. So if you're listening to us live, you're listening to us on WBCR.net. Shout out to everybody who's listening live. If you want more The Rampage and other shows on WBCR, you can follow us on Instagram at WBCR_CUNY. And full-length episodes will be uploaded to WBCR_CUNY in the playlist called The Rampage. Episodes are coming out every week. There's a backlog of episodes, so, by the time you watch the episodes, it might be a little bit later, but, we're getting them out. We're getting them out as they come out. Shout out to the editor, Renee. Renee has saved my life, y'all. Renee has saved my life. Shout out to Renee because she's getting the episodes out for y'all. So if you guys want to email us or reach out for advice, you can email us at therampagewbcr@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram for the weekly question, therampagewbcr, and you can call us and leave us a voicemail to play live. Send in your dilemmas. The number is 347-541-7855. Again, the number is 347-541-7855. So I like to do my visual descriptions for everybody who's visually impaired because we love the visually impaired people. I'm going to be doing that a lot. That's also very much so part of my brand, doing the heart. So today I'm wearing a dark green hijab. I'm wearing my gold glasses. I'm wearing a, what color would you call this?
It's like an olive green, I would think.
Olive green crew neck shirt, light brown khaki pants, and then black rain boots. And Smilie, what are you wearing today? You are wearing a royal blue blouse.
With a little bit of gold.
With gold accents. Gold accents.
I have glasses and I have black slacks.
Yeah.
With, my shoes,
are these flats?
They're like flats. They're like flats, right?
They're black flats. Yeah.
And I have a nice ring, my butterfly ring that is for good luck.
Show it, do this. Yeah. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
much love.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, Smilie. Tell us about you. You said you have, well, you didn't say it, but I know you have a podcast. You're trying to launch the Boss Chica Circle.
The Boss Chica Club.
What do you do? Tell us more about that.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me here. And I want to show my love to Andy because we connected through Andy. Big shout out to Andy.
Shout out Andy.
Shout out to me.
For connecting us.
Yes.
Anytime.
So I am so happy and delighted to be here. Thank you so much. I am excited because I love helping people. Mm-hmm. So I am a social worker. I have my master's degree in social work. I have over 30 years. I don't want to age myself, but age is just a number. It's
It
fat.
is just a
I'm like
number.
wine, getting better and better. But I've been over 30 years in the mental health field, helping families, individuals, right? And through all those years, then my last former years, almost 19 years, 18 years and a half, I was in a nonprofit. All my life, I've been working with nonprofits. And I was a program director there with multiple programs, and it was so exciting. And I've been doing coaching, but all of that was more for another, like an agency, not my own thing.
Right.
So little by little, I started developing my own thing, Smilie Empowerment, and it's a coaching. So I'm a life coach and empowerment coach.
Nice.
And at the same time, I still am a social worker. So I have the mental health background, and it's so exciting. And what I love to do now, just formally 4 months ago, my former job, I left it, and I am dedicating to my coaching business. And it's scary, but it's something that, talk about settling, right?
Right.
Which we're going to get right into it. But it's where I was 18 years and a half. I loved it, but it came a time that I felt like I was settling for something that was not what I wanted anymore for myself. I wanted to be my own boss chica, my own boss, and I'm doing it. So Boss Chica Club is something that's super excited because I'm creating this club. If you're a woman over the age of 18, on Instagram, you can find me at Smilie Empowerment. Just next week, we're going to start registering women, to be part of this club, which is super excited because it's all about boosting women, their confidence, their self-esteem. But what better than doing it together? And we're going to be doing it virtually as well as in person. And we're going to be traveling together. It's going to be amazing. And I think many women, especially when you're in college or you're coming out of college, sometimes you feel a little lost. Yeah. You have friends and things like that, but sometimes we don't talk with our friends about our dreams because we may get the imposter syndrome or anything like that. So in the Boss Chica Club, we're going to really be working together on our goals and having fun, but at the same time, we're going to be building our confidence, our self-esteem. Because sometimes with our friends and family, we don't talk about our dreams, right? Yeah. It feels a little awkward. So being part of a group is going to be super excited. So look out for that at Smilie Empowerment, the podcast. Smilie Empowerment Podcast.
Everything that you do.
It's on Spotify. Yes. I'm on TikTok, trying to grow. A girl is trying to grow on TikTok. It's a little more challenging. I'm on Instagram. And my name, for everyone that's listening and watching, it's not spelled with a Y. My mom named me Smilie. There's such a unique name. And it's Smilie. I know you want to spell it with a Y, but it's IE. So Smilie Empowerment. Over at TikTok, I'm at Coach Smilie. Everything else is Smilie Empowerment. So I'm happy to be here. This topic, Miad, that you selected for us to talk today is
so excited
super
to talk
excited. About. So let's jump right in.
Excited to talk about it. All right. So I want to say, how did you get your start in mental health work? Do you want to start there? Or should we just jump right into
I can
the
give
topic?
a brief, why I would like to give a very brief, because over 30 years is too much, but I want to give a brief intro to how I got connected into mental health. Because when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, which full circle, now I'm teaching as a coach, right? But I wanted to be a teacher. Unfortunately, my parents separated. That was very traumatic for me. And shout out to my mom if she's listening. I don't want to I think of my mom and I already because she's my first boss chica. You don't have to have a business to be a boss chica. A boss chica means you are the boss of your life. And my mom raised 4 women, young women, by herself in the 80s. It was very difficult. So she was my inspiration for the Boss Chica Club. And when I started was because I went to therapy for the first time at age 15. When my parents separated, I took it very hard. And the medical doctor was like, she needs therapy. I was hospitalized because of my heart. My heart is fine now. But at the time, I think because of the heartbreak, it was really hard. And that was my first time going to therapy. And that therapist, she changed my life. And in the middle of my therapy, I shared with her and I said, and I was 15, I said, you know something, you've saved my life. I want to do what you do. How do I do that? Because I wanted to be a teacher, but now I want to be you.
Yeah.
So long story short, she told me what I had to do. I went to LIU. I studied sociology and psychology. Then later on, I got my master's in social work, and the rest is history. My first job was a crisis intervention counselor at Covenant House 99 at age 18.
Wow.
From 18 to now, I've been working for the nonprofit, and now as of 4 months ago, I am my own boss with Smilie Empowerment, which is exciting. I hope everybody supports me. It's super exciting. So that was my beginning in the mental health field, and it was because I suffered and I wanted the relief that I felt with that therapist. And please, if you need therapy or counseling, don't be shy about it. There's still a stigma to it, sadly, but it changes your life and you get out of it as much as you put in. Some people don't believe in it. I'm Puerto Rican. I was born in Puerto Rico. Both my parents are Puerto Rican. And I know that in the Latina culture, we're getting better, but it's still this thing. Ay, tú estás loca. You're crazy. You don't need a therapist. And also, a lot of families want to keep things private. But it changed my life. And that's what, from that moment, 18 to now, that's what it's all about for me. I want to help people the way that therapists helped me. I've been wanting to do that, and that's my calling. I think God called me to do this, to serve, to help, and now I'm doing it for myself as a business, so I'm super excited. I'm so grateful to God. I'm grateful for you, for the experience to be in your show, because the energy here, I just have to say, is popping. It really is. I'm about energy. Look, I just got goosebumps. You see, I just got goosebumps. Because Mia, your energy is, we've been talking behind the scene, and every time we speak, which we've done it like twice or 3 times, I'm like, but this is a show right now. Yeah. I feel like we should go live right now. But thank you. So that's my beginning.
Okay. So we're going to get right into definitions, because this is the way we like to start every show. So the definition of settling from Oxford Languages is to resolve or reach an agreement about an argument or a problem, or to accept or agree to something that one considers to be less than satisfactory. Do we feel like this definition is accurate, not accurate? How do we feel in the room?
Can you repeat it, please? I'm so sorry.
I said it kind of fast. It's okay. So the first definition is resolve or reach an agreement about an argument or problem. Do you feel like that is like a decent definition of settling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second one is to accept or agree to something that one considers to be less than satisfactory. Is this an accurate definition, or is it missing something?
I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
What about you,
It's
Smilie?
good. I mean, I think it's good. It has an overall connotation to it. I think when you settle down deep inside, you know what you possibly want and want to be happy, and then you don't get it, and then you're like, okay, but at least I have something. And we do that with relationships. We do that even where I was in my job, my former job. It's not that it wasn't a good job, but it no longer served the purpose of my highest purpose at the moment. But for a few years, maybe, I think I settled, right? And then fear kicks in too, of the unknown. So then you settle for something that's more familiar.
The
right?
misery of what you know versus the misery of what you don't know.
Right. Right.
I hear
Yes.
you. All right, so on to the next. Smilie, we talked about this, but not on the show. We need to talk about this with the audience.
Yes.
We are in an epidemic. I'm sorry, but like we have to say it. It must be said. Like too many people are settling in jobs, in relationships, in life, like not getting what they want to get. And it's like, you know what you really want to get, so why aren't you going for it? It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. There's so much going on, Smilie.
Bring it, because that's
Come on.
what we're here
Come
for.
on.
We
Come on.
need to talk about
Like,
this. We need to talk about
I really
this.
do hate it. It's like you're friends with people that don't like you.
Ooh.
You brought this up. You said the prevalence of the situationship. I remember you brought that up. I said, ooh, that's a good point. That's a good point. You got the girls with that one.
The situation.
girls with that
I have
one.
to say, and I don't know if my niece is listening and my nieces and nephews, but they were talking to me. They were schooling me on situationship, because I heard the word and I'm like, what is that? Like, what are you talking about? But actually, when they described it and they shared it, I was like, oh, this has been for years. This is not even. I just didn't know that was the word that it was.
It's like every couple of years, there's like a new word. They rebrand.
Yes.
Yeah.
the words for dating.
But it's a sad thing to be in a situationship. And some people defend it very much so, right? Because
who's
it works.
defending it?
I'm not going to names, but I've had people that defend it because they say it works for me. You know what I mean? Regardless of gender. They're like, it works for me. You know, we're getting by. We're doing our thing. But you know something? I think that situation, right? Ooh. What do you think? But I've heard people to defend it, that they say, well, that's my thing right now, and I'm happy with that. So would you say that I've questioned it, but Mia, what do you think? When somebody says, you know what, I'm in a situationship and I'm happy with my boo, but then they say it's not my boo, it's a situationship. So why you don't agree?
I feel like if you like that person, they like you, just be in a relationship. Like, why are we settling for like something that's like weird, this in-between state? If you already, like, it's already established that you like each other. It's already established that you've been seeing each other. Just like, be together, you know? Just be together. Is that EJ? I think it's EJ. Oh my God, hi.
EJ! EJ, nice to meet you. I'm Smilie.
Yeah, EJ just came in, guys.
We don't want to make it awkward. Hey! Hi. He just came, and I'm live on Instagram, so EJ is here, so that's cool. Mia, I am with you with that, and I think, because my position is not that I agree that you should, you know, be in a situationship. However, it's the reality of what it is. Many people are in situationship. However, I feel that that's settling, right?
It is.
It's really settling. Yeah. But there's another side to this, because I've spoken to other people that they do defend it. They say, you know what? I'm happy like this. It works for me. Listen, if it works for you, that's fine. Sometimes in life, regardless of the age, and for those that are listening, it doesn't matter if you're 60, if you're 20, regardless of the age, I've in my lifetime, I've worked with across age, across culture in over 30 years. And one common thing is that I find that there are people that they defend the very thing that doesn't make them happy. That they're like, you know what? I defend, you know, my lack of finances. I defend my, you know, situationship, because they feel like, well, this is where I'm at now. I've had people tell me this. This is where I'm at now in the situationship, and I'm happy with this way. He's happy, I'm happy. However, when you really dig down and you are with yourself,
you don't like that. You know you don't like that. Why are you there?
Right.
You hate it there. You hate it there. Oh my God, you hate it there.
But well, we have to accept people where they're at, right? Yeah. But sometimes people are in denial, and they realize that sometimes after they're out, right? Yeah. That's when they look back and they're like, oh man, I was not happy. I was settling. But while they're in it, sometimes they defend the very thing because that's all they know. That's what they're familiar. I would say when you have friends like that and friendships, I have to say that I've had my rough patches in friendships where people were in situations, or even well-defined situations, but that they were not helpful, or they were in a toxic relationship. And when you put your 2 senses in, and especially if you have me as a friend, right? Because I'm a coach, a social worker. So you're like, oh, here she goes, analyzing. My friends get free therapy all the time. But at the same time, sometimes I had to learn to step back because people, whatever the decision is that they've made, they're the ones that have to live with it. We don't like to see our friends, our girlies, our homegirls, right? We don't like to see them suffering, or the male counterparts. But people make their own decisions, right? And they have to see and experience for themselves. We cannot control them. We cannot, right? But Mia, me and you are in the same boat with this. I feel like, why settle? So if you're listening and you're in a situationship, I am not telling you what to do. Look, Mia is like, no, I am.
Get out of there. Please get out of there.
I would say, Coach Smilie would say, because I would never tell, one, because I don't know the whole situationship or what's happening. So I would never give a directive as to do this. But I would say, really take time for yourself and really think, are you really happy? And also, what do you want with your life? Because time is of the essence. It doesn't matter if you're 18, it doesn't matter if you're 25, or if you're 60, or if you're 50, or in your 30s. Whatever age you are, for all of us, time is of the essence. And what you don't want, right? You can't take back time.
Right.
So, and you want to be in a situation where it's safe. So I have to be careful, because some people are in situationships that are also abusive and toxic.
Right.
So that's why I don't go quick to say, do this, do that. just be safe. And if you need counseling and if you need help, speak to someone that you trust. And on campus, I believe you guys here have.
We do have a service, yeah.
You do have a service here on campus, right? And, but I can agree with you. I feel that situationships sometimes can be relatively a waste of time, of your time. However, you can learn lessons there, but just be careful. Just be careful. But you and I agree on it. You're very passionate about it. I am too.
As somebody who was there, please.
Oh, you was there. Oh, so wait a minute. Hold up.
Once upon a time, I was one of the girlies.
That's why you.
Yeah. Listen,
give me a high five because you got out of it.
You can't force that realization on anybody when they're in it, but it's like when you're out of it, it's like, ooh, never again.
So now, okay, so you're speaking from experience.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. How do we feel about situationships in the room? What about you, Andy? How do you feel about situationships?
Damn. I would say, like, in the long term, you have to focus on yourself and your health priorities first. Because if that situationship is gonna like mentally, bring you down, it's not worth it to keep going with it. So you should just cut your ties.
Right. Yeah. As a male, with your male perspective, Andy, I just wanted to thank you for bringing that perspective. But I wanted to ask you, and this is not even in the questions, but remember we said we're going to go with the flow, right? You told me I could go with the flow, so that's great. Andy, in male perspective for you, do you find that in your experience, this is not statistics, but do you find that in situationships, is it more males that support it more and initiate that situation more than females do? And then females give in to that? Or do you find any experiences around that you've experienced where it's an equal thing? Or what do you think from your male perspectives and your friends and things like that?
Well, for me, and we've had conversations about this before in other episodes, but definitely the male, that male persona usually has to have that more of a dominant effort into like, making sure the situationship is going, forward. Because sometimes, like you were saying, sometimes the female like expects the guy to do more, and so I tend to do it that way sometimes. For my previous situationship, I haven't not anytime soon.
Okay, so you feel like it's mostly men who initiate these things.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, EJ? How do you feel about situationships? And do you feel like who initiates them?
Well, definitely males, but I feel like if you're a guy and you want to get into a situationship, then more times than not, you're selecting the girls that you think would, like, condone a situationship.
Ooh, he hit it.
Yeah. So,
can you elaborate on that?
Yes, please.
I mean, I don't want to elaborate without sounding like...
No. There's no judgment here, right? There's no judgment here. So
I feel like if you just say it how it is, then
yeah. So like,
how it is.
If you're looking for a woman that like doesn't want to be in a relationship, then like they're kind of like a checklist that like maybe like you can check off. Like maybe she's like a little bit more like promiscuous. Maybe she's like a little bit more like outgoing with like sharing her like sexual history and past and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's kind of like these like subtleties that you can like pick up.
Where it's like, okay, this person doesn't want a committed relationship,
or like you've heard about their past and like none of their past has been like fruitful in like any way. So I don't know.
So that checks off for you, like, oh, this is a chick that I can have a situationship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't check off.
No. But I'm just saying that for you in your mind, that's something that you're like, she doesn't look like she's relatively wanting to be committed. So, and you know what's interesting? Thank you for that. You know what's so interesting that us... No, don't apologizing.
How many times do we need to keep doing this?
No apologies necessary. You really spoke in a respectful way. You spoke your mind. There's no apology. You don't need to apologize. But I think that for women, and I know, and for ladies, I know I have spoken to, and I can't mention because of confidentiality, but I've spoken to some women that, or ladies that at one point they didn't want something serious or committed, and they start in that situationship feeling that way, and midway they start realizing, you know what, I'm falling in love with him or her, and I want something more. However, there's often times where the guy is like, nope,
Yeah, I don't
What
like
I signed
that.
up for is
yeah.
just this situationship, which actually clearly is not even defined.
Yeah.
And she suffers because now she fell in love and she wants more, and he's not able to give more. And then what happens then when she breaks that off? I don't know how you did when you were in that situationship, but she breaks it off, and then the guy is still testing grounds to see if he can still creep back in.
Yeah.
And I love when women are like, no, this is the decision I made. I'm moving on. Many women, more than men, they don't like to be alone. And it's across age. The loneliness. Yes. I've seen it in my practice, and they fear being alone, and then they keep getting into situationships or relationships that are not really convenient for them, but they rather be in that situation known than to be alone. And that's even in friendships. And I'm going to speak to myself. I'm happily married. Shout out to my baby. If he's this summer, we're going to be 29 years. Next year, we'll be 30 years married,
Congrats.
35 together. And we met in college.
Wow.
We went to LIU. I have to give credit to LIU for our friendship first, and then we started getting, we were together. And one of the things is that when we are in these relationships, I lost my train of thought when I thought of my husband. You see what he does to me? He still does this to me. I think of him, I'm like, oh, boop, boop. What was I saying?
You were saying,
and it was a good point too. Oh, yes.
But yeah, you got this.
Yes. I was saying that in my friendships I've had, in my trajectory, I've been so blessed with romantic relationships in past. And then with my husband, of course, it's been amazing. However, in friendships, I've had my share of breakups, and I've been ghosted by best friend, gaslighted. I mean, I think that in my lifetime, my biggest lessons, besides my parents breaking up and all of that happened in my childhood, and also emotionally being abused by a 7th grade teacher, emotionally telling me I was stupid, it was horrible. And that has haunted me. But here I am, a successful person, but it did a lot of damage. However, in friendships, that whole concept that we were talking about, loneliness, I've had that. Where I couldn't see in the friendships when there were, some red signs of people being narcissistic, people being manipulative, love bombing on me. And because I really wanted that, right? I didn't want to be alone in the friendship field, right? So then you settle for friendships that sometimes are not in your best interest. But again, you don't want to be lonely in the friendship, because everybody focuses on romantic, but in platonic relationships, we have some toxic situations too,
of course,
where we settle for friendships that are not in our best interest or toxic. So for me, I could speak on that more than in the romantic. But overall, human beings, we're creatures of habit, and we were created to be together, to have meaningful experiences. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, if you are in toxic relationships or relationships that don't serve you, they don't help you to grow, to expand, not perfect, don't settle. And if you have to be alone and rock the lonely, road for a little bit, whether romantic or platonic, do that. You know that interestingly, Miad, on TikTok, I've been getting from young women as teenagers and even in their early 20s lately, and I'm going to do something for TikTok because they've DM'd me or they've sent me messages saying, my best friend left me because I did something. She won't forgive me. I love her so much, but she won't answer my calls. And I'm like, wow, this is happening where people, I don't know what exactly happens, right? But where in friendships, best friends are just ditching another one, or maybe understandably so, but people are feeling so lost without their ride or die. That's very painful, whether it's romantic or platonic. And it all stems then back to you being alone, right? So it's really difficult.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't ask Stacy. Stacy, how do you feel about situationships?
Stacy!
Well, from a girl's perspective, I would say that, even though if a woman is okay with it in the beginning, Smilie, you mentioned that at some point they realize that like they're not okay with it, or like they fall in love with that person. So I was just gonna say, from a female's perspective, I feel like even if we're okay with it in the beginning, in the end, like it leads to heartbreak, because for many reasons, such as like catching feelings, or we realize we're not okay with it, or I don't know, maybe boundaries are crossed, like they're dealing with other people, you don't want them to deal with other people, like, oh, I just want it to be us and that's it, or something like that. So that's something that I thought about with situationships.
Yeah, the boundaries. That's really good. I just noticed that my tea is out there. I don't know if I left my tea out.
Do you wanna? I don't think you were allowed to drink in here.
Oh, you can't drink here.
You got water on the side, but you can't
not
drink.
the tea. Well, anyway, it's out there, so it's fine. This is so funny. That's what when you go live, it's like, what do you?
It's just like everything happens. So
everything
fast,
happens, and I'm looking at my tea right over there, and I'm
you
like,
can see it from here.
Yeah, it's over there, but it's okay. It's so cool.
It's okay.
Boundaries. That's a interest. We were talking about that, about boundaries.
Situationships happen because of a lack of boundaries, or like things like this happen because of a lack of boundaries. If you don't tell people, because I think you said it yesterday when we were talking. You said you tell people how you should be treated. That's like what you allow is how people are going to treat you. So if you don't check people from the jump when something happens and you don't like it, then they're just going to keep doing the thing. And then when you finally do check them after a while, they're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that bothered you. I didn't know that was a thing. Or they'll be like, oh, this was never a problem to begin with. What do you mean you have an issue with it now?
That is so true.
So,
and that's the lack of, but then again, that's you walking on eggshells, right?
Yeah.
And whether it's a platonic or of a romantic relationship, when you have to, when you can't be your authentic self, and when you can't let people know how you feel because you're afraid that they're going to leave you, you're afraid that you're going to come out too sensitive, you're afraid that they're going to be like, oh, here we go again. And let me tell you, that is something that happened to me, and I've seen to many of my clients where they're like, I'd rather not say anything because it becomes a big thing, or people don't validate my feelings, they dismiss it, they minimize. And that causes many individuals to even go into depression, to really start feeling their self-worth, that they're not worthy, that they're not important, that their feelings don't matter. And many people walk around, even, here on campus and in different places at work, across age groups, they walk around not letting you know how they really feel, but they suffer in silence. And that's where my mission comes in, especially with women, to really help women to talk about their wounds, talk about what they feel. It matters to you and it matters to me. But oftentimes, even in friendships, in family, people are caught up in their own thing and they don't talk about feelings. They suppress them, they put them away, but it comes back up. And many times it explodes in our faces and situations, sometimes even in situations where you don't even expect it. And you're like, this person just came left field with all this, upsetment. And it's because you don't know how much they've tolerated. But once again, we teach people how to treat us by what we allow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta tell people from the jump. Like, this is
definitely.
These are the rules. These are the rules. You can't do whatever you want
and be
here.
Be okay with not being liked. And that is a big one for many people. Everyone wants to be liked and accepted. And when you put your boundaries, it's uncomfortable. Sometimes, like right now, you just told, I'm going to just give a perfect example. It didn't affect me in that way, but it's just an example. I said, oh, my tea's out there. And you're like, oh, no, you can't drink here, right? So that's so minimal, right? I didn't take it personal. But think about that in a greater scale where somebody says, no, you can't do this. And now the person is like, what? What do you mean I can't do? So they are not comfortable. But guess what? It's not your problem or your responsibility to take care of other people's emotions. Your responsibility is your happiness. Your responsibility is your own self-worth and what you need. Like for you, with that example, what is your responsibility? That we
to
can't
make sure that all the equipment is good.
So your responsibility is not to catering to me to say, oh my God, now Smilie is upset, she can't bring the tea in here. Your responsibility, and then you did it assertively too. You didn't tell me, oh, you can't. You did it. And you see, I bring that example. It's small, but it's it's when you set something and you stand by it And you're like, no, that's what it is. And you're right, moving along.
Yeah, moving right along. So I wanted to ask, in your experience, where do issues of self-worth come from? Is it parents? Is it peers? Is it authority figures? Is it something else? Like, where do these issues of self-worth come from?
It's all of the above, because everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, it stems from childhood, right? Because think about this, all of us, right? In your childhood, you had a parent figure, whether it's one or two, or somebody that cared for you. Also, somebody that was significant, like a teacher. I just mentioned the teacher that was abusive with me emotionally, and that affected me, right?
Yeah.
So early on in our forming years, our minds and everything in our brain, it's so delicate. And you may have parents or caretaker that, right, put boundaries with you, telling you different things about yourself, putting high expectations, being especially if you grew up with very critical parents or a caretaker or a teacher, very critical of you. But it also could be, as you're getting older, it could be, having made mistakes, things that you regret. I believe that in what I've seen across the board, a lot of times it's like earlier on that there's rooted issues there, but it doesn't just end there. It could be at any point in your life where you've had continuous failures or mistakes, or you've been around people that consistently are critical of you, right? Whether it's a boss, whether it's your friends, and that starts creeping into your self-esteem, the way you look. Also society. There's so much of society that pressures us, right? Now with social media, and it's not that social media is bad, right? It's how we use it and how we process it, right? But all of these elements then creep into us doubting ourselves, us seeing ourselves through the lens of someone else as opposed to our true lens. And that happened to me. So that's why I can share that, where there are times where somebody's so critical of you, you start believing what they think of you versus you saying, no, I know my name is Smilie. I know that I deserve respect. I deserve love, right? But many of us, sometimes we self-doubt based on other people's opinions, and especially people that we value, right? And that we respect, that what they say, whether it's a good friend of yours, a teacher that you want to impress. And if they're critical of you, words have power, right? And you're consistently around that. That's why we're always talking about, and in Smilie Empowerment, I'm always talking about self-love at the root, male or female, whatever your gender you identify. It's important for you to self-love, and that means self-respect, have your self-worth. But you got to work through your wounds, because sometimes there are things that people have said to you that have stuck. And you may not admit it to anyone else, but in your actions, right, in your behavior, it may come out, and you don't realize, oh, wait a minute, that's stuff that my mom used to, or so-and-so that I admire was so critical of me or doubted me. That's why you have to protect your dreams, because sometimes people don't understand where you're heading, and they could be very critical of you. And then next thing you know, you start doubting yourself. So I think it stems from multiple places, and everybody's situation is different. So what we're sharing here today, there's nothing defined, even if you were looking up definitions and I gave my 2 cents. Everybody's situation is different, and it changes. It's environmental. It's who you grew up with. It's society. It's, But at the end of the day, you have control over that. You can learn to love yourself better. You can learn to be more confident. And that's the beauty of that. And there's a journey ahead, so you have time.
I like that. And you said that we have a minute before we have to wrap up the show. So I literally feel like I just want to end right there. But I think very quickly before we end, Stacy, can we see what the community said about self-worth?
I got you right now.
This went by fast.
So fast.
It did go by fast.
This is so
Every
fast.
week it goes by so fast.
So
such a pleasure.
We
being
asked
here.
the community, have you had any issues with self-worth, and where did it start? And someone said it started with bullying in elementary school.
Oh, I
That's
wish
very
we
early.
had. I wish we had time
Very
for
early.
that, because that is very early, and bullying, and I can relate to that, because in high school I was bullied, and actually in the 7th grade by a teacher. And bullying it could be so devastating to at whatever age, because there's bullying even in adults, which is so crazy. But there is. So for that person, I'm sending you my love. I don't know who the person is, but know that you can recover from that, get help professionally, speak to someone you trust, and understand that that bully is just a person who has a lot of issue themselves. They have insecurities. They themselves probably were bullied, and they're displacing their upsetment and anger with you. And I hope that you got help and that stopped, whoever that person that called in or left the message. And if you need help, please, please, please contact a professional or a teacher you trust or someone that can help you. Don't suffer in silence. And if you are around a bully, stand up for the other person. And it doesn't mean that you have to stand up to the bully, but maybe go and get help. Don't allow someone to be bullied and you stand on the sideline not doing anything. Go get someone that can help you to confront that bully or to stop the bullying. We have to do and say something, not just sit around and watch that.
I like that. Thank you so much for coming on, Smilie.
Thank
This has been
you.
so fun.
It went
so
fast.
Fun.
And
I feel
a
like,
shout out to everybody who's watching us on
I
all
completely forgot
platforms.
that we were live
And
here.
we're live on Smilie
Girl.
Empowerment. This is great. Please, please, please follow me on TikTok, Coach Smilie, Smilie.
Yes.
And also on Instagram, Smilie Empowerment, and the Boss Chica Club. If you're over the age of 18, you can DM me at Smilie Empowerment on Instagram. And it's such a pleasure being here. And I
so
hope that
much
we could do this
fun.
again.
I want to do this again.
All
so
the
bad.
hearts.
This is so fun.
It was fun. It was fun. And I will put my video up on replay and tag you.
All right.
And so thank you. Thank you, everybody. Much
This
love.
has
One
been
love.
so lovely. Bye. Bye, everybody.